It is the newest and latest model of the Stag Beetle series, sporting a new color, fresh coats, and a very powerful ailment-based kit much like her predecessor. It is KWG15 Omega Stag, with a kit of Scrape, Double Punishment, Biped Legs, and the leg ability of Breakneck, which passively buffs speed while in heat phase. Now, the previous counterpart to this one, and Swy at KBT15, is another model that received an upgrade from a Navi debuting design, which had stood by herself for quite some time since her original debut. But that is no longer the case, as Omega Stag is officially releasing this week at time of recording, but was also teased just a little bit early with the first week of the 2023 anniversary for Medarot Navi and celebrating how far the game's come. But all the same, Omega Stag most certainly will be the powerful and the end-all be-all when it comes to ailment-based fighting on the field, with just the diverse amount of skills that she has at her disposal, no matter if she's coming or if she's going. Scrape on the head part in the first instance of this on a non-collab model, the first of which being on Urdinade from the Rockman.exe collaboration, but explaining Scrape briefly as a support skill, upon use it will grant effect clear to an ally or a target's next turn. Now this target can be either Omega Stag herself, or it can be another ally on the field that she wants to support instead. That means that if the enemy is using any kind of buffs, heat boost, mobile boost, stat cleanse, guard boost, cyber core, conceal, anything of the like, if it's a stat boost, once Scrape goes into effect for them, it will effectively remove them and then deal additional punish damage as if it were just regular effect clear. The only real caution here is the fact that it does have two uses, so caution is advised and spread those uses carefully if you are going to make use of them. Punishment on both arms is a relatively new ailment-based skill, and essentially, much like her name of Omega, is basically the new end-all be-all when it comes to ailment-based fighting combat on the field. And as such, when using punishment, it will inflict 1 of 5 random ailments of course at random when attacking the target, and those can range between Thunder, Bug, Wave, Metaphor, Seal, and I believe Hold, I believe, was the other one. 1 of 5 at random. But it will also deal times 1.5 damage if fighting a forward-facing foe, but only half damage if facing a rear-facing foe. Now, this honestly makes it very interesting for a number of reasons. The first of which is because it implements these status effects and chooses them at random, it basically means you can hit the same enemy more than once with this attack, and almost never get the same ailment twice unless your luck is just that bad. Plus, because it also deals damage against forward-facing targets, this also means it's going to be an excellent counter for any defenders that are on the enemy team. And a lot of those most popular ones in recent when it comes to meta includes fighters like Jackal or Virgo or even Basalt to a degree, or even the homebrew homemade shielder that they threw together just to fit the modifiers. That means, again, as long as they're on the field, they're going to be taking the absolute brunt of the blow every time Omega Stag runs to the plate and to try to land an ailment. Biped legs mean that she'll have pretty good coverage across most terrains, as Biped have usually the best all-round coverage when it comes to terrain matching, and her stats across the board are actually pretty nice too, if I'm being completely honest with you, especially with her arms being basically direct opposites of each other in just about everything except a couple minor stat differences in power and success between the arms. With the head HP of about 3750, arms about 3050 each, and legs at 3550. Very healthy HP pool. Arms are just a little bit on the lighter end when it comes to armor, but that's not really anything you have to worry about to a point, because it is still some pretty solid coverage. And base power as well, like I said, is pretty nice. The right arm focusing more on power, while the left focuses on better success and higher speed. You really can't go wrong either direction you go, because they're both going to have the same effect. That means, again, there really is no redundancy argument with punishment in this case, given that, again, it's a random ailment per use, and the stat difference is so different, you can basically choose if you want power or reliability. Leg stats are also really nice too. A base mobility of 885 is really nice, as it means she will have good solid base speed before any other modifiers are in play. An evade of 1404 is really good though, as it means she's going to be focusing pretty largely on dodging or grazing enemy attacks to keep the damage on her as low as possible. A melee resist of 1206 is also good, as it means she can most certainly hold her own up close and personal where she likes to be as a dominant ailment-based and melee fighter. But a shoot resist of 655 is going to be a really big Achilles heel for her, as it means that if she's not fighting anyone up close and personal, that enemy sniper that's taking pot shots from across the barrier is going to most certainly be cutting this Stag Beetle type down a lot faster than what she really intends to be. But with the ability of Breakneck, it does give her that extra speed boost that she can capitalize on and make use of, so that she can outrun any long-range fighters that want to try to capitalize on distance, or take them down before they actually have the chance to stop her with long-range combat. All this being said, though, as a pure set score, I actually have to rate her pretty well-rounded and highly at a 7 out of 10. Despite being very dominantly ailment-based, and despite that having a lot of really big risks, such as, say, with the original Cameo Stag with Thunder and Freeze, or even Triple Gotson with the triple ailments that they have at their disposal, those come with the issue of having the redundancy argument, where if you can't use an ailment, or after you use the ailment it's basically done and over with, or if the enemy packs stat cleanse, that essentially cuts any attempt they make down to zero. But Omega Stag, on the other hand, comes with a lot of contingencies to actually overcome that, to the point that she's very solidly going to be your ailment fighter and be very darn well good at doing it. Scrape, of course, will give her coverage against anyone that does try to stop her using stat cleanse or anything of the like, as that added effect clear even for one turn will allow her to buy some time and stop the stat cleanse user so that everyone else can get past them if there are other ailment fighters on the team. Plus, punishment, again being a 1 in 5 chance at an ailment at random, also is very good, as it means, again, no two hits are basically going to be the same, and the only real drawback to that is you can't rely on what ailment you're going to get when you're using it. And the leg ability of Breakneck will already give her very speedy legs and extra speed boost on top of that to guarantee that she will get to the line pretty quickly once the fight does begin. For mixed parts, I have to rate her just a little bit higher at a 7.5 out of 10 for these same reasons. Scrape, again, it is the first instance of it on a non-collab model, but that added effect clear that it does grant will be immensely valuable for enemies that like to stack up on a lot of buffs, so that you can not only deal damage, but deal additional punish damage on top of that, and remove all their buffs at the same time with their next hit. And punishment, even if it does mention on words that it is redundant because it is the same arm, you really can't ever go wrong with using it either, because that 1 in 5 chance and the punish damage you deal when facing a when attacking a forward-facing target. Even if the punishment for rear-facing is half damage, it still will inflict the ailment. And on an additional note, it is also going to be the first instance on a female model, which will add even more coverage to female-based models and the ailment-based kits that they can bring to the table when you are choosing to use them.